Embryology, or the development of life. So let's take a look at this picture of this rose. What color is the flower? Think about that. Really closely look at this picture. What color is the flower? Actually, really think about this and really look at the colors and answer this question. What color is this flower? Because this small little exercise is the main difference between an expert in BioCompass and just an amateur. So what color is this flower? This might be the most profound insight you get. Write down the color of this flower. Take a piece of paper and write it down. Do it now. Okay. Let's take a look at the answer. Purple? Nah. Red? Nah. Yellow? Nah. Orange? Nah. The color depends on where you look. It has purple elements, it has red elements, it has yellow elements, orange elements. And even if you look closely, it even has black elements or gray elements and brownish elements. So you cannot answer this question, what color is this flower, right? The color depends on where you look. So now if we take a look at the human body, we also have many different organs, like a flower, right? Every organ has many different types of tissues. For example, what color is this kidney? It has blue elements, it has red elements, it has yellow elements. And has many different structural components. So the kidney parenchyma, the kidney collecting ducts, the renal pelvis, blood vessels, all different constructs, different structures that are composed of different tissues. Or let's take a look at the bladder. It has a major red part. It has some yellow parts, some green parts, even some purple parts. So it has mucosal lining. It has a trigonium. It has some muscle. All different structures of the bladder. We cannot say the bladder is red, the bladder is green, the bladder is purple, right? Depends where you are, where you look at in the bladder. So each of the colors that you see in these colorful organ pictures correspond to is a very specific layer tissue type that corresponds to the 5 animals. So where you see yellow areas in the organs, it means that it's a sponge type tissue. So the triangles in the kidneys and the big triangle in the bladder is sponge type tissue. The purple areas are all the jellyfish types of tissues. You see them in the muscles of the bladder, which is jellyfish tissue. The green colors in the organ charts are turtle tissues, turtle type tissues, which is more the outside layer, the protective layer. Blue areas are bear tissues and red areas are chimp tissues. We will get into more detail later, but even with this information, you already know a lot about what's going on. So we cannot say the kidney is blue. We cannot say the kidney is bear tissue. We can only say part of the kidney tissue is bear tissue. Part of the kidney tissue is yellow tissue. Part of the kidney tissue is red sponge tissue, right? So if there's a kidney problem, what do we know? It's either an issue of the sponge brain, bear brain, or chimp, because those colors are present. Without knowing more, we don't know anything. So the kidney has multiple different tissues, the bladder has multiple different tissues, every organ has multiple different tissues, and each tissue has a different reaction. Like we discussed in the previous video, when there's a dark blue border around the icons, it's old brain, meaning in adaptation phase we have additional cells. When there's an orange circle around the icon with the bear and the chimp, we know it's new brain tissue, means it's a cell minus less functionless cells in the adaptation phase. But most important for now is that an organ consists of multiple different tissues, and each tissue has their own separate specific program. Or something I like to say, the issue is in the tissue. The emotional issue is in the actual tissue. So we cannot say kidney failure, we need to know what is the tissue. So instead of talking about breast problems, we need to know what is the tissue. Instead of kidney problems, we need to know in what tissue of the kidney, in what tissue of the lungs is the problem, in what tissue of the heart is the problem. So the most important part, and that differentiates BioCompass from any other system out there, is we look at the embryological root layer of the tissue that is actually reacting. For example, the skin has many different tissues. They react to different themes, to different issues, and in different phases. So one of the first steps in working with it is to focus on the tissue. The issue is in the tissue. So let's do an assignment. Research the anatomy of a kidney. What anatomical subparts or tissues or structural elements can you distinguish in the organ kidney? Like we covered a few of them, but there are more. So go online and look for the anatomical structure of a kidney. What structural elements are part of the kidney? Take about 15 minutes. Do that now. Ready? Go.
Thanks for listening, and if you hit the subscribe button, you know you're never gonna miss some valuable content. Okay, let's do that.